Welcome to a new Scary Tuesday, TikTakers. Today, we'll be visiting once more the world of cartoons and animated shows, where we'll be talking about the terrifying lost episode of the Amazing World of Gumball. Are you ready? Sarah was at home, relaxing and watching Adult Swim, not realizing that it was so late that the final TV block of the night was about to end, and only commercials would be shown thereafter. He had never stayed up so late watching TV before, so he decided to keep watching until the end of the block. However, when he thought the last block of the night was finally over, he was surprised when, at the bottom of the screen, they were announcing a special episode of the Amazing World of Gumball coming up next, which was his brother's favorite cartoon. So Sarah decided to stay up and watch it. But as soon as the episode started, he noticed that something was off. The colors in the logo were darker than usual, and the title of the episode really caught his attention. The episode started showing 12-year-old Gumball in a corner of Elmore Junior High. The scenery was dark, but Sarah could see that Gumball looked pretty sad, and from the windows he could tell it was nighttime, which was kind of a strange setting. Then, the scene suddenly changed to Gumball's house. There, Sarah could see Richard, Gumball's dad, coming into the kitchen wearing a dark suit and looking pretty sad too. And then, quite suddenly, he threw himself into the couch and started wailing like there was no tomorrow. His weeping was the only thing that broke the silence invading the episode. That was pretty strange. The show was usually lively and jokey, so seeing such a sad scene was kind of disturbing. Richard kept on wailing on the couch when Sarah saw the figure of Nicole, Gumball's mom, who was wearing a black dress instead of her usual outfit. She sat beside her husband trying to console him, but she also looked pretty sad. Richard's weeping even made Sarah feel bad for him. It sounded so realistic. The scene ended, changing to Elmore Junior High again, this time around showing the principal's office. Gumball's parents were there, wearing their usual outfits and with worried expressions on their faces. The principal informed them that their children, Anais and Darwin, had disappeared, and that after many hours of searching, they were found in the forest, dead. Then things started to get worse. The principal started giving the Watterson parents many kinds of details about the children's death. Richard and Nicole were frozen in shock, and Sarah felt tempted to just turn off the TV. He was feeling overwhelmed, but in the end, curiosity got the better of him, and he decided to keep watching. The next scene was another flashback, taking place just when the teachers alerted the police about the disappearance of Anais and Darwin. After searching through the entire school and not finding anything, Sarah saw how the police then went into the nearest forest to search for them. And next to a lake, inside a box, they found Anais' severed head. In the box was also a note, which seemed to indicate where Darwin was. Shortly after, Sarah saw how the police finally found Darwin's body, dismembered and with his eyes torn out. That image was absolutely horrible. So much so that Sarah closed his eyes shut. Moreover, that image of Darwin looked extremely realistic. It didn't look like a cartoon at all. Next to Darwin's dismembered corpse, the police also found the rest of his sister's body. She had a huge hole in her abdomen, as if her stomach had been torn out. How was it possible that they were showing something so dark in this cartoon for kids? Sarah felt so terrible that he had to rush to the bathroom to throw up. He was so confused with what he had witnessed that he immediately searched about it on the internet to find any information he could about that episode. However, as much as he searched, there were no results for a Gumball episode titled The Craving anywhere on the internet. Sarah spent a while wondering if anybody else could be watching that strange episode as well. And so, without thinking it twice, he called his brother Larry. The brother answered the phone, but he sounded really angry. It was very late, and Sarah had just woken him up. Sarah asked Larry to turn on the TV and put on Cartoon Network to verify if he could see what Sarah was seeing. And so the brother, despite his initial anger, told Sarah that he would get up and turn on the TV. Sarah waited while his brother started watching. The show was back on after the commercials, now showing once more the principal's office. Sarah asked Larry if he was seeing the principal's office too, but to his surprise, his brother told him that he wasn't seeing anything like that. All that Larry could see on his TV was an old episode of the Looney Tunes. Sarah froze in shock. How is that possible? He got so scared that he rushed to the TV to turn it off. However, no matter how hard he pressed the power button, the TV wouldn't turn off. He then tried disconnecting it, but the TV kept working even while disconnected. Sarah convinced himself that it was all a nightmare, that it couldn't be real. He had gotten up so quickly that his phone fell to the floor and Larry ended up hanging up. Sarah was alone once again. He verified that the front door was locked and then locked himself in his room. He even called the police. That situation was not normal and he felt he was in danger. Meanwhile, the episode kept going. Richard and Nicole were still talking to the principal. She asked him if Gumball was okay since he hadn't mentioned anything about him yet. However, with a puzzled expression, the principal said that he thought Gumball was at home since he didn't go to school that day. Nicole, heartbroken, started crying while Richard said he saw Gumball get on the school bus that morning. They did notice he was behaving a little strangely, but didn't give it much importance. And so, from the school, they called the police again, who searched the entire school looking for Gumball. And they eventually found him in one of the classrooms, hanging from a rope with a bloody knife right next to him. The episode then ended by showing an extremely realistic image of Gumball's corpse. Strange credits then appeared on the screen without their signature music. After that, the screen turned completely black, and Sarah could then see how some disturbing and shocking clips started to play on the TV. He saw someone dressed like a plague doctor, a small kitty being cursed by a woman wearing high heels, and lastly, the image of a little boy very similar to his brother being shot with a gun. And the one shooting looked just like his father. In that moment, Sarah started crying in fear. In the distance, police sirens could be heard. And once they arrived at Sarah's house, they couldn't find anything which could prove what he was saying. However, Sarah did manage to record part of the episode, so he showed it to the agents and then they believed him. However, while still being there, more and more police cars started to arrive. Sarah's little brother had disappeared and his parents were the main suspects. It all felt like a horrible nightmare and it seemed like that episode was some sort of premonition. Over time, Sarah managed to continue his life and even managed to contact the ones responsible for creating that terrible Gumball episode. Although they only claimed to be responsible for part of that episode, which seemed to have been edited by other people later on. Most people still didn't believe that Sarah had seen a cursed lost episode of the Amazing World of Gumball that night. But for the rest of his life, Sarah would never forget what he had witnessed. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like it. And if you want to see more Draw My Life videos, subscribe to our channel. See you in the next episode!